Welcome to the 2300 Pick Six podcast. I'm your host, Dave Walker, about to do another edition of Where DWALK was right and Where DWALK was wrong. Before we start that, we're going to talk about the trade deadline that happened today. A lot of moves were made, some shockers, ones I did not expect, and moves that people should have made. So we're going to go with the first one was the one I did not expect. And me and Wolf and everybody do make jokes about the Jets, and it's blow it up, blow it up. The Jets have now literally have blown it up by first literally trading off. I really did not see this man as a trade candidate. And that was Sauce Gardner, who got traded to the Indianapolis Colts today, which is a shocker. For the Colts, that is a good move because after what happened to them in Pittsburgh, they needed secondary help because their secondary was getting torched all day against the Steelers. And right here, this was a little bit of an insurance policy right now they needed, and a good one at that. So getting him was a good move. Next on the list was, let's see. Who else made? We're going through people who made moves. Jacoby Myers, I knew he was getting traded, but a bad move going to the Jags. I really thought he was going to go to the Bills or the Chiefs, but the Raiders trading off to the Jags, the Jags are, I don't know what I want to say about Jacksonville because they barely made it out of Vegas. And I said that game was going to be bad. And it was. And it's a game that should not have gone to overtime, which worse, it could have been a tie. But him going there, I know the Jags needed receiver help, but I think Jacoby Myers should have gone either to the Bills, and I'm a little bit disappointed in that. That's where he should have gone. Next, who got traded today was also Rashid Shaheed. Shocker there. I thought the Saints were going to blow it up. I thought Chris Olave was going to go. I didn't think Shaheed was going to go, but he went to Seattle. That helps Seattle a little bit more because with the combination of Smith and Jigba and him. So Seattle right now is in the middle of the pack, and they're trying to do everything in their power to try to keep first in their division because they got a tight one going up against the 49ers and the Rams. And that does help it a little bit there. So Shaheed going there is not a bad move. So that's not a bad move for Seattle to take. Next one we have who got traded was, hold up, I think there's more here. Ball didn't get traded, but he should have got traded, which I was shocked he didn't go. But out of the Jets, Quentin Williams did get traded. He went to the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry making a move. Even though it's a little late, in my opinion, I don't see how that does. I don't know what good it does, literally, to be honest with you. But it doesn't help, so I don't think that did any damage for us, but whatever. But, hey, you got somebody. You traded off Mozzie Smith, and the Jets got a second-round pick and a 27 first-round draft pick. So it is what it is, whatever. Let's see who else made some moves. Because the Jets did blow it up. They did trade off their defensive back, Joshua Taylor, to the Chargers for a 2028 conditional 7th-round pick. The Chargers also did get a veteran OT. They got Trevor Penning. They traded away a 6th-round pick for 2027 for the Saints. I already talked about Quentin Williams. The Bears added a 1st-round pass rusher, getting Joe Travion Shoninka. They got a 7th-round draft pick and traded a 6th with the Browns. I already talked about Rashid Shaheed. I already talked about Sauce Gardner. Talked about that. Dallas did also make another move, getting Logan Wilson, which that wasn't really the big splash. I mean, Quentin Williams was, but we'll wait and see. That was their 7th-round pick that Cincinnati receives. This was all the 3rd. And then Philadelphia did make another move besides getting Jair Alexander. They did on Monday get Jalen Phillips from the Miami Dolphins, which was a very good move, getting that helps them more with their defense, with the pass rush, and with getting a veteran quarterback in Jair Alexander. So they did make some moves too. It's the only ones I was shocked that did not make moves in this trade deadline were the Bills and the Chiefs. I thought, even though, yes, the Bills did beat the Chiefs, I thought the Bills would try to make a move for another receiver or for the defense. But unfortunately, they're content where they're at. The Chiefs, I'm a little bit shocked they didn't make a move because after taking that loss to the Bills and also with Jacksonville beating the Raiders, they are in a hole where they're in trouble, where they're going to have to fight for their playoff lives. And I was shocked that they didn't make a move. Try to get Tony Pollard, but unfortunately, he didn't go nowhere. So I was a little bit shocked that the Chiefs and the Bills didn't make moves out of all this. But now we are going to start where DWALK is right and where DWALK was wrong. So we're going to start that now. All right, first game that I got right and wrong is Dolphins-Ravens, which I got right, picking Baltimore. Okay, hold up. All right, we're back. Sorry about that, technical difficulties here. Okay, so out of this right here, the Raven. Whoa, God, hold up. All right, we're gonna get rid of all this because I don't need my voice like that. So we're gonna redo that. Oh God. Hold up. Let me see if I can pause this. Give me a second here because I didn't expect that to do that. Technical difficulties, folks. Technical difficulties. All right, let's do this again. We're going to do this over again because my voice is echoing, which I don't need. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Okay, hold up. All right, mic check. All right, we're good. So we're going to restart that over again. All right, give me a second. All right, folks, we're back. Sorry about that technical difficulties. We are now back. So that was a right. Lamar Jackson torches Miami with 4 touchdowns in return from injury, and Ravens rout Dolphins 28-6. Lamar Jackson returned for Baltimore Ravens, and so did the chance of MVP on the road. A game the Ravens needed right here. They got their second win here. They're trying to do everything in their power to fight for their division after Pittsburgh getting a win over the Colts, which was a shock, which we'll talk about a little later on when I cross that bridge with that game. But Lamar Jackson looked like himself in that game. He literally did everything with his legs. The defense did its job getting a turnover, getting a fumble. But this was more of Lamar with his arm and going to Mark Andrews. They literally put belt to ass to the Dolphins. For the Dolphins, they are already sellers. They've already got rid of Jalen Phillips. I'm shocked Devin Akane did not go. But it's going to be tough sledding for them next year because I think McDaniels will get fired by the end of this season. It's not going to be very, very easy for them. But a breakdown out of this game, Riley Patterson, 49-yard field goal. Mark Andrews, 2-yard pass from Lamar Jackson. Mark Andrews, 20-yard pass from Lamar Jackson. Riley Patterson, 43-yard field goal. Charlie Kolar, 3-yard pass from Lamar Jackson. Rashad Bateman, 9-yard pass from Lamar Jackson. No scoring in the fourth quarter. Leader for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 18-23, 4 touchdowns, 204 yards. Derrick Henry, 19 carries, 119 yards. Zay Flowers, 5 catches for 64 yards. Leading sacker for the Ravens was Brent Urban with a half sack, and Roquan Smith had 9 solo tackles and 12 tackles. For the Ravens, their next opponent is against the Minnesota Vikings. For the Miami Dolphins, their next opponent is against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Next game that I got right and wrong is Falcons-Patriots, which I got right, picking New England. With this team watching as its lead whittled away late in the fourth quarter, Patriots coach Mike Vrabel knew he had to say something. This was a game I thought the Patriots had in the bag and literally was winning it. Because when I was flipping through, the Patriots were putting an ass whipping on Atlanta, but then all of a sudden they let Atlanta come right back. And this is a little issue right now with New England. They've got to find consistency right now because Drake May has to stay consistent. Yes, it was a win. It was an ugly one. It wasn't pretty, but it was enough to get the job done and to hold on to first place into their division. Now, they have a tough one this Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Now, this is going to show about Drake May is can he consistently beat another good team? Now, if he beats Tampa, we're going to have a different talk about Drake May and the Patriots. If they lose, not saying if like I say, if they get killed, then I expect a full-on rant by Wolf this week about him. But if they lose close, then I can say, all right, maybe we have something here. There is something there. For the Atlanta Falcons, Raheem Morris is not the best coach. He sucks. And you barely – the Patriots squeaked out things to a late miss extra point. Now, this is regardless if it's Penix or – well, Penix did play, or if it's even Kirk Cousins. But right now for Atlanta, if I were them, fire Raheem Morris. You need a new coach because this is ridiculous right now. Because since losing to the Bills and facing belt to ass from the Dolphins, y'all have not been the same. And right now, if you try to make a playoff push, I'm shocked. Well, I'm glad you didn't make no moves in the deadline because I think you would have fucked it up. But now, I would say right now, get ready to hire Raheem Morris when the season comes. But a breakdown out of this game. Demario Douglas, 17-yard pass from Drake May. Drake London, 1-yard pass from Michael Penix. Terrell Jennings, 3-yard rush. Stephon Diggs, 11-yard pass from Drake May. Drake London, 2-yard pass from Michael Penix. Andy Borgales, 32-yard field goal. Parker Romo, 38-yard field goal. Drake London, 8-yard pass from Michael Penix. Parker Romo, PAT failed. Leaders for the Patriots, Drake May, 19-29, 2 touchdowns and an interception, 259 yards. Trayvon Henderson, 14 carries, 55 yards. Demario Douglas, 4 catches, 100 yards and a touchdown. Leading sacker for the Patriots was Kalavion Chason with 1 sack. And leading tackler was Christian Gonzalez with 6 solo ones and 7 tackles. For the Patriots, their next game is against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. For Atlanta, their next game is in Berlin against the Indianapolis Colts. Next game I got right and wrong is Chargers-Titans, which I got right picking the Chargers. Justin Herbert shakes off a pick six as the Chargers beat Skidding Titans 27-20. A pick six on the Los Angeles Chargers' second offensive play of the game. Then Justin Herbert lost his right tackle to injury later in the first quarter, followed by left tackle Joe Alt carted off the field in the second. Yeah, this was a game I thought was going to be belt to ass to the Titans, but all those injuries that I just read, the Chargers were barely lucky enough to escape out of here with a win and not Charger a game like they have Charger games like this in the past. A win that was mostly needed. Now, they did get an offensive tackle from the Saints to help them, which they are going to need all this help in order to try to keep in pace with the Broncos and with the Chiefs. Even though the Chiefs did lose to the Bills, which I talk about later, which I'm going to get more in depth about, but it's going to take a while right now for the Chargers because they're going to have a tough road ahead of them. For the Titans, they already are on the clock picking their next draft pick, but unfortunately, Tony Pollard did not get traded, which I thought he was. He did not. He's still going to be with Tennessee, so I don't know if he's still going to be there next year, but I'm shocked that he did not get traded. So we're going to wait and see what occurred with them down the road. But a breakdown out of this game. Cody Barton, 24-yard interception return for a pick six. Scott Matlock, 2-yard pass from Justin Herbert. Jameer Dyke, 67-yard punt return for a touchdown. Cameron Dicker, 27-yard field goal. Quentin Johnson, 19-yard pass from Justin Herbert. Joey Slide, 49-yard field goal. Cameron Dicker, 52-yard field goal. Justin Herbert, 1-yard rush. Joey Slide, 37-yard field goal. Leaders for the Chargers, Justin Herbert, 19-29, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for 250 yards. Justin Herbert, 9 carries, 1 touchdown for 57 yards. Oronde Gadsden, 5 catches for 68 yards. Leading sacker for the Chargers was Odafe Oweh, 2 sacks. And leading tackler for the Chargers was Deion Henley with 9 tackles and 4 solo ones. For the Chargers, their next opponent is against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. For the Titans, their next opponent is against the Texans, which is on their November the 16th when they're on their bye. Next one I got right and wrong is Bears-Bengals, which I got right picking the Chicago Bears. Bears outlast Bengals for a while, 47-42 win on Williams, a touchdown pass to Loveland in final minute. Caleb Williams prepared to lead a game-winning drive to beat the Cincinnati Bengals. This was a crazy game that literally could have gone either way, but the Bears got the win, which was needed after rebounding from that ugly loss to the Baltimore Ravens. A win that they needed to try to keep pace with the Green Bay Packers and with the Detroit Lions. And you know what? I'm also going to add the Minnesota Vikings in there too, because when we talk about that game, you'll see why I said that. But this was a win that they needed right now to try to keep pace with their division. For the Bengals, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Even with Flacco back, they did have the lead in this, but the Bears got away with that last-minute touchdown to Loveland to keep it going. But now it's a lot tougher than it's going to be for Cincinnati because the Steelers still have first in the division. You have to deal with the Ravens. And you also have to deal with I'm not going to say the Browns. It's more likely you're going to have to deal with Baltimore and Pittsburgh if you want to try to keep pace in this in your division. But I don't see it happening even with Flacco or anything else they're going to try to do. But a breakdown out of this game. Charlie Johnson, 98-yard kickoff return for touchdowns. Caleb Williams, 2-yard pass from DJ Moore. Evan McPherson, 41-yard field goal. Olamide Zacchaeus, 15-yard pass from Caleb Williams. Evan McPherson, 33-yard field goal. Cairo Santos, 24-yard field goal. T. Higgins, 44-yard pass from Joe Flacco. Colston Loveland, 5-yard pass from Caleb Williams. T. Higgins, 2-yard pass from Joe Flacco. Britton Brown, 22-yard rush. Cairo Santos, 36-yard field goal. DJ Moore, 17-yard rush. Noah Fant, 23-yard pass from Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco passed to T. Higgins for 2-point conversion successful. Andre Yosefat, 9-yard pass from Joe Flacco. Colston Loveland, 58-yard pass from Caleb Williams, 2-point conversion failed. Leaders for the Bears, Caleb Williams, 20 of 34, 3 touchdowns, 280 yards. Leading rusher was Kyle Manungai with 26 carries, 176 yards. Colston Loveland, 6 catches, 118 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Montez Sweat, 1 sack. And Tremaine Edmonds was the leading tackle with 5 solo tackles and 9 tackles. For the Bears, their next opponent is against the New York Giants. For the Cincinnati Bengals, their next opponent, they're on their bye week. They would play the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next game I got right and wrong is Colts Steelers, which I got wrong picking the Colts. In battle, Steelers defense forces 6 turnovers as Pittsburgh tops AFC leading Indianapolis 27-20. The Pittsburgh Steelers tuned out the noise and turned back the clock. Literally, from what I heard about this defense before this game started, fans at Heinz Field had a funeral for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Now, I don't know if the Steelers saw that and that motivated them to get that win, because I'm going to actually call this game. This actually was a fuck you game and a humble game, because I did not see the Colts losing this game. I thought more likely that CM Rodgers was going to be on McAfee bitching, but apparently not. McAfee was the one that was upset, and I didn't see that coming. Now, Pittsburgh, it was a win that was needed to end their losing streak. They have to try to keep their division because you have Baltimore on your heels. I still think that the Ravens will get that division. I still think that Pittsburgh might mess this up somehow. But they got the win, which was needed here, with Rodgers having a good game, the defense forcing 6 turnovers. Now, on the other side of the thing was for the Colts. Made a good move today getting Sauce Gardner, because that secondary was getting torched all day by the Steelers. And this is a move that helps them to try to get that playoff push, or to see if they could try to make their first AFC championship in a while. Now, I don't know how they're going to do in the playoffs. That is the thing. I've got to see how they do. Right now, that 1 seed for them, even though this playoff picture is not definitive yet, it's going to be a little bit tough because you have the Patriots on your heels. Eventually, you're going to have the Bills, the Broncos, the Chiefs on your heels. But making that move for Sauce Gardner does help you right there. Now, you have a game which you should win against the Atlanta Falcons in Berlin, in a game that you should bounce back from. But we're going to wait and see what happens with the Colts down the road. I think they're going to absorb this loss, and they're going to bounce back from it. But a breakdown out of this game. Daniel Jones, 1-yard rush. Jalen Warren, 1-yard rush. Pat Freiermuth, 12-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers. Chris Boswell, 25-yard field goal. Jalen Warren, 2-yard rush. No scoring in the third quarter. Michael Bagley, 52-yard field goal. Chris Boswell, 46-yard field goal. Joshua Downs, 4-yard pass from Daniel Jones. Michael Bagley, 53-yard field goal. Leaders for the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, 25-35, 203 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Warren, 2 touchdowns, 16 carries for 31 yards and 2 touchdowns. Calvin Austin, the third, 5 catches for 56 yards. Leading sackler for the Steelers was Alex Highsmith with 2 tackles, and leading tackler for the Steelers was Peyton Wilson with 10 solo tackles and 14 tackles. For the Steelers, they play against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. For the Colts, they play up against the Atlanta Falcons in Berlin, Germany. Next game I got right and wrong is 49ers Giants, which I got right picking the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers run all over the Giants on the way to winning 34-24. Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson Jr. kept getting the ball and carving through the New York Giants defense. San Francisco 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan wondered if he should mix in a pass or two before deciding against it. A lot of Niner fans at this game, from what I've heard, there was more Niner fans than Giants fans. Well, MetLife has always had more opposing teams, and the Niners do have a high fan base because they invade a lot of stadiums. They've invaded my stadium enough. So the Niner gang does travel very, very well. This was more of a Christian McCaffrey and Brian Johnson game. Mac Jones really didn't have to do as much. Christian McCaffrey just held the rock and literally pounded it all the way through this game. For the Giants, I know they weren't going to make moves, and I know Jackson Dart is literally dealing with chicken shit here. I know Cam Scatterboo is out for the season. Malik Neighbors is out, and he's trying to do his best here. The defense is okay with Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns, but there's going to be a lot that has to be done with this team, which is it needs to get blown up, which is the front office. Brian Gable needs to get fired, and I don't know if they will do it, but we'll wait and see what occurred with the Giants down the road. But a breakdown out of this game: Theo Johnson, 15-yard pass from Jackson Dart. Christian McCaffrey, 5-yard pass from Mac Jones. Juwan Jennings, 11-yard pass from Mac Jones. Eddie Pinheiro, 54-yard field goal. Eddie Pinheiro, 33-yard field goal. Graham Gano, 22-yard field goal. Brian Robinson Jr., 18-yard rush. Jackson Dart, 6-yard rush. Christian McCaffrey, 3-yard rush. Gunnar Olszewski, 24-yard pass from Jackson Dart. Leaders for the 49ers: Mac Jones, 19-24, 2 touchdowns, 235 yards. Chris McCaffrey, 28 carries, 106 yards and a touchdown. Chris McCaffrey, 5 catches, 67 yards and a touchdown. Leading sacker was Clayton Farrell with 1 sack, and leading tackler for the 49ers was Tatum Bethune with 16 tackles and 8 solo ones. For the 49ers, they play in a key divisional matchup against the LA Rams. For the New York Giants, they play up against the Chicago Bears. Next game I got right and wrong is Broncos-Texans, which I got right, picking the Denver Broncos. Broncos rally to beat Texans 18-15 with last-second field goal. Bo Nix knows Sunday's win over the Houston wasn't pretty. No, it wasn't pretty for Bo Nix and company because they literally were down and in a fight with them. Yeah, I know they didn't have Patrick Surtain, but the Broncos are finding ways to win games. And literally, even if they're ugly, like I said, it wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. And the Broncos are trying to find ways to win games and to hold on to first place in their division, because eventually you got to deal with the Chiefs. You got to deal with the Chargers. Again, well, you got to deal with the Chargers one more time, even though the Chargers did beat them. If they can try to split with them, you have a chance. Now, with the Broncos, not with the Broncos, with the Chiefs, they're going to have to wait a while with that, because I know the Chiefs are on their bye. They're going to have to wait. As for Houston, tough damn shame. C.J. Stroud suffered a concussion in the game. Do not know if he is going to be available for the Jacksonville game this Sunday. We don't know, but Houston did have the lead trying to put up a fight, but unfortunately the Denver Broncos got the win, which was needed to hold on to their division. But a breakdown out of this game: Kami Fairbairn, 23-yard field goal. Kami Fairbairn, 41-yard field goal. Cortland Sutton, 30-yard pass from Bo Nix. Kami Fairbairn, 38-yard field goal. Kami Fairbairn, 40-yard field goal. Kami Fairbairn, 41-yard field goal. R.J. Harvey, 27-yard pass from Bo Nix. Bo Nix passed to Troy Franklin for 2-point conversion, successful. Will Luck, 34-yard field goal for the win. Leaders for the Broncos: Bo Nix, 18-37, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns and an interception. J.K. Dobbins, 15 carries, 61 yards. R.J. Harvey, 5 catches, 51 yards and a touchdown. Leading sack for the Broncos was Zach Allen at 1 sack, and leading tackler was Al Singleton. Was it Al Singleton or Andrew Singleton? Alex Singleton with 10 tackles and 4 solo ones. For the Broncos, they play on Thursday Night Football against the Las Vegas Raiders. For the Texans, they play on Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Next game that I got right and wrong is Lions-Vikings, which I got wrong, picking Detroit. J.J. McCarthy throws for 2 touchdowns and runs for a score in return as Vikings beat Lions 27-24. J.J. McCarthy was hailed by teammates in a jubilant locker room after leading the Minnesota Vikings to a much-needed 27-24 win over the Detroit Lions on Sunday. You want to talk about fuck you games at its finest. This was one of them that I did not expect that the Vikings were going to pull off this upset. I'm going to say Detroit, I don't know what Detroit was doing in this game. They literally, I'll say this: the Vikings contained Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, and David Montgomery. Amon-Ra St. Brown was held down. Laporta did good, even though he did get off a 4th and goal, a big, huge 4th down conversion. But it wasn't enough for Detroit to get the win, even though, yeah, they did get Jameson Williams in the end zone. But after, when it got to 3rd down, where it was risk versus reward, JJ threw the ball and got the 1st down, and the Vikings literally sealed the deal with a key divisional win right now they needed, because they have won 2 in their division. They've beaten Chicago week 1, and they have now beaten Detroit. And now, right now, they are trying to prove to everybody, hey, this division in the NFC South, in the NFC North, is going to be very, very competitive. We don't know who's going to win it, because the Packers did suffer a loss to the Panthers, which I'm going to talk about later on. The Bears got a win over the Cincinnati Bengals. So right now, this division is up for grabs for anyone right now at this point. So it was a damn good win for them. J.J. McCarthy looked good coming back from his injury. Now he's got a tough one against the Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to see how he does there. For Detroit, they have Washington. And when I talk about Washington, there is going to be no Jaden Daniels. And I will say in this one, I think Detroit is literally going to take it out on the Commander and literally put their foot so far up their ass, and it's not even going to be funny. But a breakdown out of this game: Sam Laporta, 40-yard pass from Jared Goff. Justin Jefferson, 10-yard pass from J.J. McCarthy. T.J. Hawkinson, 7-yard pass from J.J. McCarthy. David Montgomery, 2-yard rush. Will Riker, 50-yard field goal. J.J. McCarthy, 9-yard rush. Jake Bates, 41-yard field goal. Will Riker, 20-yard field goal. Jameson Williams, 37-yard pass from Jared Goff. Leaders for the Lions. Not Lions. Sorry, wrong one. Leaders for the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy, 14-25, 2 touchdowns and interception, 143 yards. Aaron Jones, 9 carries for 78 yards. Jordan Addison, 2 catches for 48 yards. Leading sacker for the Vikings was Eric Wilson with 2. And leading tackler for the Vikings was Blake Cashman with 14 tackles and 6 solo ones. For the Vikings, they play on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. For the Detroit Lions, they play up against the Washington Commanders. Next game that I got right and wrong is Panthers, Packers, which I got wrong, picking the Packers. Rico Dowdle's big day and Ryan Fitzgerald's big kick give Panthers 16-13 win over Packers. Rico Dowdle made one big mistake on an otherwise splendid afternoon. Yeah, he fumbled briefly, but the Panthers are literally shocking us all right now. Now, they've won games like this, which they shouldn't have, and in Lambeau, which is not very easy to win, they got the win, which was very, very necessary. They got the win I'm not going to say that Panthers can try to keep pace with Tampa because you're only behind them in 2 games. But eventually they do have to play Tampa, and we're going to see how this goes. Now, if they are able to squeak a win against the Bucs down the road, then the NFC South is going to be a little bit more competitive. And we're going to wait and see how they do. But how this goes, it's a little shocking. For the Packers, caught in a fuck you game, and I don't know which one was worse. Well, I think the one losing to Cleveland was the worst. This right here is in your own conference, and this is a conference loss which is going to affect you down the road with a playoff seeding. Micah didn't do anything. He was contained. Jordan Love didn't do anything as much, but the Panthers got the win, which was a shocker I didn't expect and I did not see coming. And they're doing very, very good with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, but I would have Rico as a starter over Chuba Hubbard. But a breakdown out of this game. Brandon McMahon is 40. There was no scoring in the first quarter. Brandon McMahon is 49-yard field goal. Rico Dowdle, 5-yard rush. Brandon McMahon is 27-yard field goal. Rico Dowdle, 1-yard rush. Ryan Fitzgerald, PAT failed. Josh Jacobs, 1-yard run. Ryan Fitzgerald, 49-yard field goal. Leaders for the Panthers. Bryce Young, 11-20 on interception, 102 yards. Rico Dowdle, 25 carry, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Trevion McMillan, 4 catches, 46 yards. Leading sacker for the Panthers was Trayshawn Wharton with 1 sack. And leading tackler for the Panthers, Christian Roseboom with 7 solo tackles and 15 tackles. For the Panthers, their next game is against the New Orleans Saints. For the Green Bay Packers, their next game is against the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. Next game that I got right and wrong is Jaguars Raiders, which I got right picking the Jags. Trevor Lawrence scores in overtime in Jags. Devon Hamilton denies Raiders 2-point try for 30-29 win. Trevor Lawrence went to Sunday game at Las Vegas battling an illness and then had trouble getting the Jaguars offense going. He even threw an interception to double coverage in the end zone. Well, no wonder why this game sucks so bad. I didn't know Trevor Lawrence was sick because this literally – I didn't make a joke with me, Joe Law, saying that this would be like a lifetime game of the week, a Nickelodeon game, because this game was so bad. It was so bad. It was – I think only 1 touchdown got scored. Cam Little did hit a record-breaking field goal. It went to overtime, which it should not have gone to. But the Jags got the win, denying the 2-point conversion because the Raiders had no choice. Because if you take a tie, well, the tie wouldn't help the Raiders because the Raiders are already out of contention. It would have fucked the Jags more over. But the Jags got a win that was very much needed, and also getting Jacoby Myers too, which I didn't expect seeing in the deadline, him to go there. And the Jags are trying to do everything in their power to fight with the Colts to try to get first place because they're only a game behind them. So we'll wait and see what happens with the Jacksonville Jaguars down the road. As for the Raiders, they're already on the clock. They've already blown it up, trading off Jacoby Myers. I'm shocked they did not trade Max Crosby too, which he needs to get traded too. But it's over. They're already on the clock making their next division pick. Breakdown of this game. No scoring in the first quarter. Brock Bowers, 7-yard pass from Geno Smith. Daniel Carlson, PAT failed. Cam Little, 68-yard field goal. Cam Little, 33-yard field goal. Daniel Carlson, 24-yard field goal. Trevor Lawrence, 7-yard rush. Ashton Jennings, 15-yard pass from Geno Smith. Brashawn Tootin, 1-yard rush. Brock Bowers, 27-yard pass from Geno Smith. Cam Little, 48-yard field goal. Trevor Lawrence, 1-yard rush, touchdown. Brock Bowers, 2-yard pass from Geno Smith for a touchdown, 2-point conversion failed. Leaders for the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, 23 of 34, 220 yards on an interception. Travis Etienne, 22 carry, 84 yards. Leading receiver for the Jags was Parker Washington with 8 catches, 90 yards. Leading sacker for the Jaguar was Josh Hines out with 1.5 sacks, and leading tackle was Foye Aluakon with 5 solo tackles and 11 tackles. The Jaguars, they play the Houston Texans on Sunday. For the Raiders, they play against the Denver Broncos this Sunday. Next game I got right and wrong is Rams Saints, which I got right, picking the Rams. Matthew Stafford hits Devontae Adams with 2 of his 4 touchdown passes while the Rams rout the Saints 34-10. Garrett Birds walked into a deserted room Saturday night and thought he had somehow missed the Los Angeles Rams team meeting. Well, I don't think he did, because literally the Rams dominated the Saints, putting belt to ass, which wasn't a shocker in this one. The Rams got the win, trying to keep pace with their division. Technically they got a battle with Seattle and the Rams to try to keep first in their division, because that NFC West is very, very stacked. I'm not going to put the Cardinals in it, even though, they did get a win over us. I'll talk about that later in detail. But literally, the Rams got a win, which was needed with their defense, with Devontae Adams, with Puka Nacua coming back, and Kyron Williams getting that win and doing everything in their power to try to make that playoff push and try to get their division. As for the Saints, they've already let go of Rashid Shaheed. I'm shocked that Alvin Kamara didn't get traded, or anybody else that I could think of got traded that needed to go. But this is a team that needs to get blown up. Also, they're already on the clock trying to get their next pick. We'll wait and see what happens with the Saints down the road. But a breakdown of this game: Tyler Higbee, 1-yard pass from Matthew Stafford. Devontae Adams, 3-yard pass from Matthew Stafford. Josh McCarty, PAT failed. Blake Group, 39-yard field goal. Puka Nacua, 39-yard pass from Matthew Stafford. Juwan Johnson, 11-yard pass from Tyler Show. Devontae Adams, 4-yard pass from Matthew Stafford. Kyron Williams, 1-yard rush. Leaders for the Rams: Matthew Stafford, 24 of 32, 281 yards and 4 touchdowns. Kyron Williams, 25 carries, 114 yards and a touchdown. Puka Nacua, 7 catches, 95 yards and a touchdown. Leading sacker for the Rams was Braden Fisk with 1 sack. And leading tackler for the Rams was Nate Landman with 5 tackles. For the Rams, their next opponent is against the San Francisco 49ers. For the Saints, their next opponent is the Carolina Panthers. Next game I got right and wrong is Chiefs-Bills, which I got right, picking the Bills. Allen has 3 touchdowns, and Bills use sturdy defense to top Mahomes and Chiefs 28-21. After Josh Allen spent much of the past week downplaying Buffalo shit on Kansas City, the Bills quarter revealed there was more to the rivalry than he let on. For the Bills, a win they needed here, like we said, me and Wolf had stated, the Bills have beaten the Chiefs. Josh Allen is good against the Chiefs in the regular season. In the playoffs, he cannot beat them. Now, I don't know if this matchup is going to occur in the playoffs right now. How the Chiefs have been playing, and with this loss, it does hurt them very, very badly. Them losing to Jacksonville a couple weeks ago comes back to haunt them. They are going to have to find a way to make a playoff push. Right now, they're on their bye, which is very much needed, and I'm shocked they did not make a move in the deadline here, which is a very little bit disappointing. They were losers in this trade deadline. I'm shocked they did not make a move. As for the Bills, yes, they did get the win. They have to try to get first place in their division due to the Patriots winning. And I'm not going to say have a tough road ahead of them. They just have to wait on and see, okay, if the Patriots lose to the Bucks and they get a win over the Dolphins, they would get sole possession of first place back. And then they're going to have to try to start fighting for a 1 seed. It's a little shocked they didn't make moves. But this was a very, very good game. The Bills did everything almost to win. They almost blew this game when the field goal got missed, because there was a little bit of time for Mahomes to come back. Now, and this is just a what if. If the Chiefs would have got that touchdown, I think they would have gone for 2. I don't know if they would have been successful, but I knew that Bills defense was literally getting to Mahomes. The Bills got the win, which was very much needed. They now go on to take on the Miami Dolphins to get the sweep. For the Chiefs, they're going to be on their bye week. They're going to be waiting to play the Denver Broncos on November the 16th in a key divisional matchup they're going to need. But a breakdown out of this game: Dalton Kincaid, 23-yard pass from Josh Allen. Rashid Rice, 3-yard rush. Harrison Butker, 46-yard field goal. Ty Johnson, 3-yard rush. Josh Allen, 1-yard rush. Dang it. Damn it. Josh Allen, 1-yard rush. Sorry, folks, dropped my phone. Okay, here we go. Josh Allen, 1-yard rush. Harrison Butker, 19-yard field goal. Josh Allen, 1-yard rush. Kareem Hunt, 2-yard rush. Patrick Mahomes, 2-point. It's Travis Kelce, 2-point conversion successful. Leaders for the Bills. Josh Allen, 23 of 26, one touchdown for 273 yards. James Cook, 27 carries, 114 yards. Dalton Kincaid, 6 catches, 101 yards and a touchdown. Joey Bosa, 1 sack. And leading tackler was Cole Bishop with 4 solo tackles and 7 tackles. For the Bills, their next game is a Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. For the Kansas City Chiefs, they are on their bye week, waiting 2 weeks to take on the Denver Broncos. Next game I got right and wrong is Seahawks Commanders, which I got right, picking the Seahawks. Sam Darnold leads Seahawks to easy 38-14 win over Commanders, who lose Jaden Daniels to arm injury. Sam Darnold was in a type of group a quarterback rarely experiences. The Seahawks looked good from this game from the start, and they did not let up. They kept their foot on the gas pedal. They did not let up. They got this with their defense, their special teams, and their offense. And Sam Darnold looked very, very good in this game, going to Smith and Jigba, going to Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. He had a very good game out of this. For the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels went down yet again. Not that much that Marcus Mariota could do. I really don't think that this team is making the playoffs or winning their division. And I am going to say it now. Even though Jaden was there and even though he's injured, I'm still going to say it. Same old fucking Washington. So I'm going to say it right now. Unless I'm proved otherwise, and it occurs during the last week of the season, they prove me wrong with that, I'll hit this button at the end of the season if they do make it to a playoff. But a breakdown out of this game. Torrey Horton, 4-yard pass from Sam Darnold. Torrey Horton, 25-yard pass from Sam Darnold. Elijah Arroyo, 26-yard pass from Sam Darnold. Cody White, 60-yard pass from Sam Darnold. Jaden Daniels, 1-yard rush. Jason Myers, 41-yard field goal. A.J. Barner, 1-yard rush. Chris Rodriguez Jr., 4-yard rush. Leaders for the Seahawks. Sam Darnold, 21 of 24, 4 touchdowns, 30 yards, and a touchdown, and an interception. Kenneth Walker the third, 11 carries for 42 yards. Jackson Smith and Jig with 8 catches for 129 yards. Leading sacker for the Seahawks with Leonard Williams with 1 sack. And leading tackler for the Seahawks was Tyrese Knight with 4 solo tackles and 10 tackles. For the Seahawks, their next game is against the Arizona Cardinals on the 9th. For the Washington Commanders, their next game is against the Detroit Lions. And the last game that I got right and wrong is Cardinals-Cowboys, which I got wrong, picking Dallas. Brissett fills in for Murray again as Cardinals end 5-game skid with 27-17 victory over the Cowboys. Jacoby Brissett had a stock answer ready for the question of whether the Arizona quarterback has done enough to be the replacement, not just the fill in for Kyler Murray. The Arizona Cardinals looked good in this game. Marvin Harrison Jr. had his best game, which it wasn't a shock against us because our defense sucks. And McBride had a torch game with us. Brissett did everything with his arms and his legs. For the Cowboys, they had a good drive in the opening drive, but then went for it, could not put up points. The defense tried to make a stop and tried to come back into this, but Dak did not look good. Throwing 2 interceptions, which literally cost us throwing an interception, which literally cost us the game. And yes, I know the Cowboys did make moves, getting Logan Wilson and Quentin Williams. And I'm going to say this now for us. It's not going to help as much, and I think it's a little too late. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. This team is still not going to go nowhere. It's not going no playoffs. And even if it did go to the playoffs, they would get one and done by either Philadelphia or Detroit or Green Bay or whomever. This team is not going anywhere. It's going to be in hell for a couple years until Jerry Jones is out of there. And I'm going to keep saying that till the day I die when that occurs. The Cardinals look good. They got the win and in their skid. For Dallas, they're on their bye week. They will go to Las Vegas on Monday Night Football to play the Raiders, which a game that they should win. And I'm giving air quotes on the word should win because I don't know about this team and I cannot trust them. For the Cardinals, their next game is against the Seahawks in a key divisional matchup. See if they can pull a fuck you game over on them, but I don't think that they will. But a breakdown out of this game. Chad Reeland, 48-yard field goal. Marvin Harrison Jr., 4-yard pass from Jacoby Brissett. Marshall Nealon blocked punt recovery in the end zone. Jacoby Brissett, 1-yard rush. Trey McBride, 12-yard pass from Jacoby Brissett. Brandon Aubrey, 26-yard field goal. Chad Ryland, 34-yard field goal. Ryan Flournoy, 5-yard pass from Dak Prescott. Leaders for the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett, 21-31, 2 touchdowns, 261 yards. Let me see how you see this one. Imari DiMercado, 14 carries, 79 yards. Marvin Harrison Jr., 7 catches, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Calais Campbell, 2 sacks. Buda Bakers, 3 solo tackles and 7 tackles. For the Cardinals, their next game is against the Seattle Seahawks. For the Cowboys, they are on their bye. They will play on Monday Night Football against the Raiders. And before we end and before I call it a night, it's just been enough time for talk. It's time for kickoff. I'm Dave Walker, and we'll see you on the field. Good night, everybody.